Hello, everybody. Welcome to Off Road Ramble. We're going to interview Steve today. So this is Steve Fry. Hi, Steve.
Hello there. Great to be here.
Steve is our sales associate, specialist, ninja, whatever you want to call yourself, right?
Yes.
But you're responsible for sales.
We do everything financing, pretty much top to bottom, A to Z. We'll process all the, loans, everything for the Grenadiers, and pretty much one-stop shop.
And for those of you that have dealt with, shall we say, other car dealers, they do have a bit of a bad rap, don't they? Car salesmen sometimes.
It comes with the territory,
yeah, unfortunately, yeah. And certainly some of them don't help themselves, do they?
No.
When you hear feedback, so it's a tough thing, You other than the house, it's a big thing, right? Buying a vehicle.
It is definitely, and the business does have kind of a black eye in that regard, but. We're pretty above board and transparent and want you to buy every car from here. So that's our intent.
I'd love to buy every car. We're going to come on to owning too many cars in a minute. Yeah.
Hey, it's Tim here from Off Road Ramble. You've heard us talk about incredible adventures. Well, this year we're taking it up a notch. We're planning a full fall of unparalleled Grenadier experiences, from exclusive test drives at a private ranch to a massive charity car show, and of course the ultimate off-road pilgrimage to Moab. Trust me, you're going to want to be there. More details dropping soon on WarnerIneosGrenadier.com.
So basically, so we've already interviewed James. So he's the other sales person here.
Correct.
But both of you guys are pretty much really into cars, right? So I think if we go to certain other car dealerships, they're literally just shifting widgets, aren't they? It could be the commodity is, some maybe immaterial to the actual process, whereas you guys are proper car geeks. So what got you into cars then? And we'll touch on all of the.
Well, James and I, we were co-workers over at the local Audi dealership here, Audi Salt Lake. He was there 10 years, I was there 12 or 13 years.
Yeah.
And we loved that, and it was a great place to work. But he came out here and then said, "Hey man, this is one of the next best things going." And I just said I'd recognize the opportunity, and I'd always been into four-wheel, off-roading, and I decided to come out, and I'm really glad I did. The group's a great group, family owned, which is getting harder and harder to come by these days. And, the passion and the dedication and, genuinity that Warner organization has is you just don't find it anywhere.
There's definitely a different demographic of person, right, who say would buy an Audi maybe for like, I'm making generalizations here, but like for a status symbol, right? So you could tell them anything about the engine or the transmission, and they're like, I have no idea. It's just got the Audi badges on, so it makes me look cool.
Right.
Whereas, and there's obviously a lot more to a specific Audi, from a technical standpoint, but a very different person, would you agree, who's looking at buying a Grenadier?
It is. I mean, and since I was a kid, I've always loved cars, from, the Matchbox car, madness from when I was a kid. And, but it definitely is. I grew up in Moab, four-wheeling with my dad. We had a couple old Broncos, a few old Broncos. And, when I got rid of the Broncos, I kind of moved into more of the sports car
So I think
arena.
you might be because we spoke off camera a little bit of this, but you're slightly underselling the Bronco thing. So you had like 5 of them altogether.
We did.
And you had the, what was it called? The Off-Road Club?
We started a little club, and this was back in, the mid 90s all the way through the, early 2000s.
So you were very, very young then?
Yes. But yeah, we started a little club. It was called Wasatch Wild Horses.
Yeah.
And, me and my friends, probably, 10 or 12 of us, we'd go down to Moab, break stuff, come back, fix it. We'd go down once a month. And I grew up going down there in high school. So it was just kind of a renaissance to that chapter of my life where I could have the opportunity to get back into off-roading and four-wheeling, and the Grenadier's like the storybook ending to that. It's just
so
reawakened that whole deal,
circle, right?
Yeah.
It's funny, yeah. I mean, so your history with vehicles, I mean, you've had all those Broncos, Drove the hell out of those.
We did, yeah. I
and-
wish I still had all those. I tend to get rid of all the stuff that's worth money and then keep the stuff that's not. So,
Great financial advice there. Yeah, maybe. But now you've got, from your time at Audi, you've got a bunch of Audis. So just briefly run through which Audis that you now have.
I've got, it was kind of the millennial Audis, early 2000s. I've got a couple of 01 S4, B5 S4s is what they're called, manuals, and that had the 6-cylinder turbo engine in them. Then I've got same, area of time. I've got an 03 RS6. I've got an 01 A6 V8. I've got an 06 A3 3.2 liter. And then kind of my baby is an 85 Quattro that I picked up a few years ago. And that was kind of my conquest that I've always wanted since I was a teenager.
So probably define yourself then as a bit of a car geek then.
I am either that or a glutton for punishment. One of the two.
It goes with the territory. But there are worse things to be obsessed with in the world, right? So cars are the least of some evils, right?
It's like they're my children, You can't sell them, you can't get rid of them.
Yeah. So the other thing, you've also got a bunch of old cool motorcycles as well.
I do. I've got, after I owned a car dealership with my dad for about 10 or 12 years, and which was a great time to be able to, we did specialized in European cars. It was called Autostrada Motors. And, we did the Audis, BMWs, Range Rovers, everything. Then I moved on after that and worked Harrison Imports and Harrison Motorsports with their BMW dealership, Aprilia, Ducati, Moto Guzzi. So just over time, I just tend to pick stuff up. I like the dual sport adventure bikes. I've got a couple of those, an older PD GS 100. I've got a 1200 GS Adventure. Got a couple of old Vespas that I've had since I was a teenager. So like I said, I just collect stuff, and now I don't know where to put everything anymore. So it's really starting to...
Do your kids say, Dad, can I borrow,
There's already a couple in his garage.
So they're all over the place, right?
Yeah.
And your latest acquisition is a Grenadier, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
From the time I started, I've been out here with Warner about a year or so. And when I came out, I was in another chapter of my life, I was in Moab and we'd fortify these Broncos and, locking diffs and lifts and axles. And then I was like, let's see what these things can do. And we went down to Oktoberfest in Moab last October. And I was amazed at what the vehicles could do. When you have, 80, 100 people down there, and most people aren't what I'd classify as super experienced, to have them go out and no one break down and no one have any issues and just have a good time. It sold me on them. And, just the retro look and the modernized conveniences and torque of the vehicles, I love them. So I just finally picked one up.
They're very capable as an at the box, and people do modify them. Like they put this on, they put that on, and some of it is aesthetic, some is, from a performance standpoint, bigger wheels and tires, all that sort of stuff. But really, you don't need to do any of those things.
You
right?
don't, and that's what surprised me the most. Most you go buy a Jeep, and then you got to lift it, and then you got to do X, Y, Z, and just the way these were designed, simplicity with simplicity in mind. The steel box frame, the body on, the ladder frame. It's just more old school, which really appealed to me.
And simplicity is sadly lacking from a lot of modern cars. It's
really
a very unique product, isn't it? Because, like I say, it's body on frame and all the rest of it. But
it's a driver's car.
Yeah,
you got to drive it. It's not going to drive for you, or it's how it should be. I'm more of a purist in that regard. So.
Yeah, you can definitely feel what's going on, that's for sure. But yeah, I think a lot of people, and also a lot of younger people, are finding modern cars where there's a lot less people driving now. It depends where you are in the country, of course, or in the world. But yeah, it brings back that sort of old school, without any of the disadvantages, right, of owning a 40-year-old, 30-year-old, whatever.
That's what makes it, so appealing to me is the simplicity. You don't have you know, retinal scanners or keyless this or what.
Yeah,
It's just
Mhm.
what's there is there, and it's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, and people, there's only so much you can do from a legal standpoint, right? Like, I mean, you can have an ignition key, that's not legally mandated, but then things like it's got to have its stability control, as it goes, ABS,
Right,
bags, and all
right.
the rest of it. That comes with the territory of, you know, building a car now, not in 19 whatever, which is, you know, that's a double-edged sword, I guess.
Hey, it's Tim Pettit from Off Road Ramble. This September the 27th, we're teaming up with Bolt Farms and chef Sarah Glover. Yes, that's Sarah Glover for a modern adventure experience. Warner will be there with Grenadiers built for the kind of backcountry this event demands. Nothing polished, nothing performative, just purpose-driven vehicles doing what they're designed to do. And you'll get to hop in and experience them for yourself in between great food, great community, and hard-working fashion. Tickets will be available soon for just under $100. Check the link in our bio. Warner Ineos Grenadier, built for real life.
But in terms of the people buying them then, would you say they're quite different from, you know, I don't know what run-of-the-mill would be, but, you know, your regular people going in and buying regular cars? Obviously, it's a different vehicle, so it's going to attract different people, right?
Well, you know, and I just picked mine up, a couple of months ago, and it's just funny, you know, you'll be coming out of the grocery store at the, you know, coming out after the movies, and people will just be like flocked around the curb. What is this thing? You know, they're just enamored with the design, and you know, it's kind of cool. You don't see that a lot. Everything's a little more generic and just kind of, these vehicles are so killer because you can customize them and personalize them in your own ways. And if you want to go, you know, overlanding or off-roading, the options are endless in that regard.
Sure.
But you know, if you just want to cruise around town, you know.
So yours is Eldorado blue, isn't it? So yeah, so it kind of make
It's like this little fella
yes,
right
exactly
here.
like that one. Yeah. So all of the black accent bits, you know, like your wheel arches, your raised air intake, your grill, and all the rest of it, boom, it pops, right?
It
So
does, and that's and they hit the nail on the head with the design. I mean, this is similar to the old, you know, 70s Rovers with the contrasting top, and you know, mine's got the red frame on it. Just there's no other manufacturer where you can pick the color of a frame when you order a car. It's just,
and the old Rovers never had unless you buy it aftermarket, of course, but they never had the frames treated from a rust standpoint with you know, wax or like the Grenadiers, wax coated, and it's wax injected, powder coated, and e-coated. So that was never done from the factory.
I went with the rough pack, the Trial Master, which is a little more, you know, grassroots. It does have the raised air intakes. Those come standard with the front and rear locking diffs. You know, the steel wheels. It's just, you know, very
puts it on. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so the people, you know, often the people that are a bit like you, shall we say, that come in, so they're not generally, and correct me if I'm wrong, they're not generally speaking, oh, this is my only car. They've probably got a couple of other things tucked away, you know, and they think, oh, that's quite cool. This is quite cool. Yeah, that's the typical.
Exactly. And then there's the people that come in, you know, they've done their research and due diligence, and, you know, they like the story. It's kind of, you know, with Sir Jim and him, you know, reincarnating the trucks how they should be. And it's just, you know, people come in and as more get out on the roads, more people are getting, the interest is getting higher. So
when I was driving around in mine, I would still get, a few months ago, people saying, is it a Land Rover? Would still get that. So I don't think there's enough. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe because the shape's so iconic, but people still think it's a Land Rover that's been, you know, remade or rebuilt or whatever. That's come out from Europe and been, you know, resto modded or whatever. And it's surprising how many people do think that. But
it is.
Yeah, so you kind of have to put them right. And of course, the other thing is the story, right? The backstory, because you know about all the you know, the backstory about different vehicles in the past. But this has a pretty unique story, and it really came out of, you know, Sir Jim not being able to keep on making the original Land Rover, so he thought, right, I'll build my own. So it's a really cool story, right?
It really is. I mean, there's, you know, everything is it's kind of, you know, a boutique car, if you will. It's got so much personality, and what you can customize it and do to them yourself. It's kind of like building a Lego set. You can put whatever you want all over.
And I think the other thing is also is that it's a kind of a timeless design, right? Because even if you had this in your truck in 10 years, I mean, it's not particularly fashionable now.
Right.
It's just cool, but it'll still be cool in 10, 12 years, 8 years, whatever.
I mean, it's definitely a niche vehicle, and that's what I appreciate about it. And you know, people will come out and they'll know right away whether they could see themselves daily driving it or maybe keeping it as a weekend camp getaway vehicle. But you know, James, he's a car nut like me, and he's got a couple Audis, he's got a Sequoia.
What a surprise.
Yeah, right. And he says it's the only vehicle he's ever owned that speaks to him. So, and that resonates with me. It's fun. I mean, what other car could you take to Moab off-road hard and ride and put away wet and get it right up back on the road and drive home? Everybody modifies. Everyone modifies their Jeeps to the point where you got to trailer them around, and then it kind of defeats the whole purpose.
Well, that's the other thing. I mean, on-road and off-road is at opposite ends of the engineering scale. A lot of people forget that. So ultimately, if it's phenomenal off-road, pretty much there's going to be a compromise if it's on-road and vice versa. But with the Grenadier, there's that nice balance, right? There
really is
between the two. Yeah. So
their on-road manners are awesome. I mean, it's just once you get there's a learning curve for a couple of days, but once you get dialed in, it's awesome.
It's funny when you ask. Sometimes if you ask non-car people and they say, "Oh, you're into cars," and you go, "Oh, yeah, you're into cars. Great." Not really. I'm into. Cars are just a means of transport. And then when you ask them what they drive, and I'm not going to character assassinate a particular brand here, but everybody will know what I'm talking about. And you see what they drive and you go, "Oh, that's why you don't like cars then," because that goes back to what you were saying.
Right.
Doesn't talk to you, does it? Because it's just almost automotive white goods, right? Which is completely not what that is, And you can get cars that will talk to you, but they tend to be pretty old.
No, 100%.
Or quirky. There's not very many modern cars. I mean, maybe some handful of sports cars, that might talk to you, but pretty much not very involved in
checks all your boxes. And I mean, what they've done with the BMW power plant and the transmission, the torque ratio and the transition between shifts, it's so much fun to drive. It's exciting and fun.
And I think we've said this on the podcast before, but I think when I've taken people out to drive the Grenadier, never driven, you're the same, I would imagine, but I never mention the horsepower unless they specifically ask.
Yeah.
And they'll put their foot down. Oh, it goes really well. And then when you ask them how much horsepower, they'll bout some number that's way above what it actually is. Because they're not thinking about the torque, it's the whole setup. Because really, it's a high-revving car engine,
Yeah, well, it's the same engine in the Supras and the Z4s.
But the mapping of it is, and I don't like it when people say it's detuned. It's not really detuned, is it? It's just been tuned differently.
Right.
So I think that's what people forget. Detune means, it has a negative connotation.
Right. Well, it's just, it's so nice that, it's on-demand acceleration and torque, and there's very little, if any, turbo lag. I mean, you put your foot on the gas and it'll pull till you take it off.
So does it tick a man with way too many Audis?
It definitely does.
Does it tick the old school German vibe?
Well, it's kind of funny that, I was so involved in that back going to Moab before it was all side-by-sides and 9 million people.
Yeah.
And to come back into this arena is just really
kind
fun.
Of done full circle.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I love it. It's like Christmas morning when I come out to it in the morning. I'm giddy. Yeah.
So you and I were both in Moab for the sort of owner's bash. What was that, about a month ago now?
A month or two.
Yeah. And I think we had 112, if
I think right in that area.
112. So you're going to be in October then. We're going again, right?
Most definitely. I think with, the way we have it set up down there with the service where you could come in and, if you have anything you need done, we'll take care of it. And I think these things are just going to continue to grow and snowball. And it's a lot of fun to see that many rigs come together.
And also you don't see that many of them. I've seen a handful driving through Moab, not at the event, just when I've been driving through Moab. I think I saw two a couple of weekends ago, one towing a trailer, with a Land Rover Defender on the back, which whoever that was, if you're watching, but
It's probably broken down. Just kidding.
but my point is you don't see that many of them. But when we do have lots of them in all the hotels and the motels in Moab, they do get a bit of attention. You can people going into the supermarket and they're like, "What the hell is that?" So they do definitely make an impact, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, when there's lots of them. I mean, I guess when you see more than one of anything, but most people are used to seeing, normally any selection of Jeeps or old trucks or maybe a handful of Toyotas. But yeah, these things stick out like a sore thumb.
Well, there's a big following over in Germany too, and us over here, and them are with the gatherings, everybody's trying to
outdo the Germans, right? Okay, so they're out.
Okay, I think they're talking 150, 200 at the next ones.
Yeah. So how many did the German guys have last time then?
I think we beat them just by a handful.
Yeah. So we'll have to kick their butts this time then.
Correct.
So there's a bit of friendly rivalry with that.
Right.
Okay. All right. Okay, then, guys. Well, thank you. We're going to go downstairs and we're going to check out Steve's Grenadier. And then we've got something special for you. So we'll show you that as well. All right. See you shortly.
Thanks, sir. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Well, hi, everybody. We've come downstairs from our normal podcast location into the garage. I'm here with Steve and his Grenadier. As you can see, it looks pretty good in the Eldred blue. As we were saying, it's nice contrast between the body color and all your accent pieces. So, Steve, I mean, it's a standard Grenadier, but what have you done to it to like we were talking about people personalizing?
Well,
what have you done?
I kind of blended in a couple of different, add-ons just for a little customization. We did the checker fender plates. I did put the decal inlay there just so you could actually see what kind of car it is.
And just to be clear, that's not. I just ordered these online and in a matte finish, just to kind of match these. But we put the Nomad wheels on, and it's got the open country Toyo MTs that is pretty beefy, meaty mud tire. They're and pretty good for noise. These
they're not bad at all.
Yeah.
It's I don't even notice it at all anymore. So. But yeah, they have good road manners, really nice. We took it out in the sand down in Moab, and I mean the traction's unreal with these things.
So does it have a lift on it? Because it's hard to tell with those.
We put the Fox 2.0 system on it, so it's got a little remote reservoir up in there. Yeah, I think it brings it up maybe just a little bit, but these are about 34-inch tires, give or take.
Yeah.
And, I didn't have any issues with, hanging up on anything or rubbing on anything.
And bumpers and things.
Everything is great. I think that with the bigger, beefier tire, it may give the appearance it's sitting up a little bit higher. But yeah, this has got the Ineos winch on it. So that's kind of recessed up in there. And that's a nice option just to have it tucked away in there so, you don't ding it up or anything. And Latec, we outfitted this with a Latec. We're the distributor in North America for this particular brand. They're out of Germany. They do a lot of work on the G-Class Mercedes, G500s, etc. We put on the upper light bar there, the LED light bar. That also does in the middle have a daytime running light that illuminates the
in the LEDs, and that's Latec as well, is it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I went with the side steps here. There are also rock sliders as well. Those come in black and red, and I mean they're super heavy duty.
It's always nice to have those.
The high lift points too is nice.
For it to do both, right? Because often it's either a side step, which is great for getting in, but then doesn't have the structural integrity, or you have a slider, which is the opposite way around. So it's kind of nice to do both. But also, I don't know whether we picked this up with the camera, but you have the red chassis option, which
I do have really the red frame
to kind of match with the, and it does actually match, doesn't it?
It does match pretty well, and that's why I kind of went with the red the red step option that,
Yeah.
I don't know, just like I was saying earlier, it just gives you an element of personalization and customization that makes it kind of fun.
And no two Grenadiers are the same, even the ones we have outside here. So does the high lift reinforcing plate, does that come with the LaTeX?
It does.
Yeah,
That
it
comes
comes
on
with it.
all of
Okay,
these.
that's cool.
Correct. Yeah.
And the homage to Ferrari, we got the
The prancing camel.
Yeah. And I noticed on your roof bars they're red. So did you?
Yeah, I actually just came across those one night online and thought it would be a nice accent to, you know, with the red steps to put
So you
those
didn't,
on there.
you didn't go to Home Depot and get some red paint?
I didn't get the Krylon and spray it on there.
Okay. Yeah.
But no, I thought it, you know, that's the cool thing. You could just kind of.
But these look like they're powder coated, right?
They are, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this here is LaTeX as well. This gives you a little bit extra fuel capacity, 5 gallons on the.
Have you got shares in LaTeX?
I'm
joking.
I do not.
But it's
Maybe
cool.
I should.
Yeah. Maybe you should. Yeah. But it's cool stuff, though, right? It is.
It
cool
is.
stuff.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's kind of the
nicely made.
you know, military grade, heavy duty stuff. So.
Yeah.
And then I went ahead on, and I really like this option. Not only can you, you know, store your gear and everything in here, I've got my Easy Flate air compressor there. I've got my recoil air hoses there. Just a way to tuck everything away. And this is nice. When you do fold the seats down, it makes it completely level. I just ran over to REI and got a little mattress that fits perfectly in there so you could sleep in there. This is a neat option as well. It's got, you know, lockability, and this is, you know, thick gauge steel if you have firearms or anything you want to keep secure and safe up in there.
Small children.
Yeah,
animals.
you can. That's where I put my kids.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
But
But
no,
again, a lot of utility from the space, right? Depending on what you're going to do.
no, for sure. And then you could tie down whatever you have
Yeah.
back here. It's just the utility rail option's pretty sweet.
Because I think the
deal,
thing
too.
is with the Grenadier, a lot of people think that the shape is cool, and it is absolutely is an iconic
Right.
shape. Of course, we've got the proper sticker there, just
Sir Jim is my co-pilot. Go ahead.
definitely. But yeah, the utility from the squareness of the vehicle is definitely what makes a difference, other than it just looks cool, right?
No,
Yeah.
correct. And that's what these cars are all about, utility. You know,
Yeah.
less is more, and
Yeah.
it's pretty neat concept. We got this little camp table that Ineos sells. They're you know, really you could set your stove there, whatever. And there is on the Rough Pack Trial Masters, there is a little 120 plug back here for the auxiliary battery, so you can run, you know, Starlink, you can run coolers, you can, you know, do a myriad of things with that, which is kind of nice when you're off the grid.
All right. Well, thanks for showing us the Grenadier. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Steve. Thank you.
Thanks for chatting with me.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, guys. Just to show you the type of person that Steve is, and I think we've kind of illustrated that. We're looking at some of your geeky car obsession, but this is your baby, right? This is your favorite.
This is my
Yeah.
conquest that I've wanted since I was 12 years old. So I finally was able to pick it up, and this is kind of my crown jewel.
So
baby.
this is well, you tell me what you've got. We both know what it is, but tell
So
me what
this
it is.
is a 1985 Quattro Coupe, or Quattro. Some people refer to it as. This was a limited production vehicle between 1980 and 1985, 86, and they only brought 160 into the States during that time. This particular year, I think there's about 73 in the US. So it's kind of a rare vehicle. It's their civilian adaptation to, you know, the Spec B Quattro.
Yeah, Group B rally car.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that brings us neatly on to why this really captured your imagination was because of Group B rallying.
Correct.
And if you've never watched motorsport, whether it's Formula One, NASCAR, whatever it is, watch Group B. If you want thrills per, you know, every second watch some of the old rally cars. So this really revolutionized four-wheel drive, because prior to this, most things were rear-wheel drive.
Correct.
And this kind of went more horsepower, more performance, and it was literally whipping the backsides of the competition, right?
Yeah, and this engine was pretty iconic for that period as well.
Yeah.
It's got the inline 5-cylinder turbo, and this was one of the first vehicles equipped with center locking differentials too, which Audi pretty much dominated that whole circuit for 5 years, and they eventually kicked them out because they were beating everybody so bad. So no, this is kind of just my baby, that kind of a dream come true for me to pick up.
And it is just essentially the I don't think there were a huge amount of these either, but this was essentially a coupe or coupe body.
It is.
With the wider wheel arches, the Ronal wheels, the turbo 5-cylinder engine, and this was really as near as to the rally car.
It is. It was the street legal rally car at the time, and
then I think after this one they did the short ones where they cut some out the wheelbase, and they did some
they did
different
the
versions.
the S1. I mean, those cars are all time. They're definitely more rally oriented, but the elements in the rear window here say Quattro, just cool little things.
The devil is
you don't
definitely in the detail.
You don't see a lot of anymore.
It's actually got a trunk or a boot, as I would call it, but it's not a hatch, right?
It's not a hatch,
which is kind of
it's kind of a unique beast for sure.
Yeah. And then for the US, notice it's, because I'm obviously used to the European ones, it's got the reflectors on here, and also it's got the US headlights on the front, so a little bit different.
The bumpers are a little more,
they protrude, don't they?
They protrude, and
Was that the 5 mile an hour thing?
But I think it is something like that. But just a few little tweaks to make them, make them legal for the US. But it's a lot of fun. These produce a lot of torque. It's got, it's just a blast to drive.
Because I think Audi were very, for those of you who are not that old or don't remember, Audi really pushed the 5-cylinder engine, and the idea was it's got more torque than a 4-cylinder, sorry, but it's not as heavy as a 6-cylinder, and it's an inline, right, on this.
Correct.
A lot of the later ones were transverse.
Correct.
But you can see in there, it's a pretty, and we were looking at this earlier, we were geeking out on it, and it really is an over-engineered thing, even though it looks pretty basic by modern car standards. When you touch the dashboard and all the controls, there's sort of that tactile feel. Everything feels over-engineered. It's definitely not built to a prime.
It's a driver's car.
Yeah, and it's very indicative of mid-80s German stuff
for sure.
Yeah. And if you look in the center console there, you can see this one has a lock-in center and lock-in rear and lock-in front diff on here. And then I think on this one, I understand it's the Torsen diff, isn't it, for the center?
Correct.
Yeah. But yeah, a very cool machine. And a lot of people don't realize how this really changed rallying, as we were saying. It really made Ford, it made Lancia.
It revolutionized the sport,
it
really.
Made them all sit up. And if any of you looked at, there's some very, like the Lancia Delta, the MG Metro 6R4, those were all competitors to this car, because of course this was what really revolutionized those times with four-wheel drive. And prior to this, four-wheel drive was for tractors and trucks, right? Well, that's what the competition said, and until they started to do very well.
This is right around when Lamborghini started building the Countachs too.
Yeah.
Speaking of tractors.
Lamborghini makes tractors, right? Yeah, not a lot of people know that either. But yeah, it does. In fact, I think it looks better than because sometimes when people say the European stuff's better, I think it looks better with the twin headlights.
I don't mind it.
Yeah, I think it looks, because I think the later ones had the big lights.
But she's a unique beast.
Yep.
It's fun to take out. I don't drive it a whole lot. It's got about 105,000 miles on it, but she still runs good. I went through it and changed out all the fluids, tuned it up, and she still purrs.
Okay, guys, looking under the hood, you can see it's it's very old school. So, Steve, talk us through what
This
we got
is
here.
pretty much your inline 5 right here. You got the turbo, you know, right to the side here, and this is pretty much the heart of the beast here. It's you know, for the time, I think it's got, you know, just under 200 horsepower, but that was, you know, pretty impressive numbers for the time. And the big deal was really the Quattro, and, you know, how enamored everybody was with that. It doesn't look like much, but it sure does build a lot of torque. And
Yeah, and that's the thing with it. That extra cylinder.
it's just a blast to drive. I mean, I'm giddy and grin every time I get in it. I love this thing.
And with the rally versions of this, when they really started breathing on big turbos, that they were 400-500 horsepower, weren't they? They were
Correct,
They were a lot of.
And you could adjust these. I mean, they're you could tweak them, but this car's completely stocked, or stock as far as, you know, configuration goes. So,
and it's nice that you can actually see. I mean, it even has a distributor rather than coil packs.
Right.
The engine's slanted slightly, which is interesting packaging thing, and it's an inline, which is you know, pretty rare.
and you
as
can
well
see
now.
this. It's got the V-dub logo here as well.
And the Audi, yeah,
Yeah.
because of course they use this Audi across the group,
Right, and a lot of the interior switches and everything are kind of interchangeable. It's got all the, you know, original stickers up here and that good stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, very old school. But yes, if you had to work on this, a refreshing lack of plastic and lots of room. Look, you can get your hand in stuff to do
You
stuff,
can actually work on
Yeah,
it.
you can actually work on it. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah. All right, so can we hear it?
Yeah.
Let's hear what that 5-cylinder engine sounds
Yeah,
like.
you bet. It's stock exhaust, so it's not super loud, but it does have kind of a unique sound to it for sure.
So there you go, guys. That's a 5-cylinder engine, which you don't hear very often anymore. But yeah, very cool. Sounds absolutely awesome.
The new RS3s have the 5-cylinder in them, so
Well, they
that's
do, yeah. Didn't they do the TT?
TT
had the
RS,
5-cylinder, yeah,
but
as
they
well.
discontinued the
Yeah,
TTs. So
yeah. But it's a pretty rare engine configuration.
it
isn't
is.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah. It's a shame we don't hear it more often. Well, it's been a pleasure to have you here. I know
Thanks
you're
so
here.
much.
I say here, you're here anyway, but you know what I mean. Do it on our podcast. But thanks very much, Steve. For
Thank you,
coming.
sir. I
Thank you.
appreciate
Yeah.
it.